insanely. And it changes the product from what it was originally designed, or in like the idea originally was to just transmit Bitcoin value on Ethereum. And then it turns into something that's more valuable than Bitcoin and more valuable than Ethereum, which is in the United States. So Bitcoin is designed to be a replacement for currencies because they constantly inflate them. It's a bad deal. So Bitcoin was designed to appreciate in value and replace currencies. That's what it's designed to do. And so far, it's failed entirely to do that. It has no adoption. No one uses it for actually buying stuff. No one carries it around in their wallet, uses it. There's slow as hell. You get, like, if you do a large value, you're supposed to wait an hour before you like actually give the person the stuff because the transactions could be rolled back. You know, it's had 2 inflation bugs where anyone could mint as many free coins as they wanted. Back in 2010, someone did, and they had to roll the chain back. And then a year and a half ago, it happened again, but this time someone disclosed it instead of using it, and then they fixed it before someone could do it. That's a lot of problems, right? But it's still the highest appreciating thing that's ever existed. It's up 1.6 million X right now from 11 years ago. That's a lot of X. 1.6 million X is a lot of X from a penny to $16,000. So who really gives a shit about any of those other things? So it ended up being a store of value. Fine. Okay, it's a store of value. Doesn't do currency. Fine. That's okay. It's up 1.6 million X. It's enough, right? You can't buy coffee with Berkshire Hathaway stock either. But it did 20% returns for 50 years. So that's enough, you know? Now, let's talk about currency. How much currency is there in the United States and China? $5 trillion printed. Okay. How much money is locked in time deposits in the banks in the United States and China? $7.2 trillion. Okay, well, it's a 50% larger market. So by adding game theory to HEX, it turned into the world's first blockchain time deposit because we built time deposits, which is a larger market than Bitcoin addresses. And we also do payments better, higher throughput, cheaper, more secure, anonymity if you want it. It's all there. So we do what Bitcoin does better than Bitcoin, and we have another feature which is more valuable than what Bitcoin was ever designed to do in the first place. And it was just through me thinking about how to make something the best that I could. So I started with an idea that was pretty good, and then by happenstance and luck, I ended up making something that was insane. Just like, wow, it's so good. So the price this year went up 263x this year. This year, if you bought January 5th and you held till a couple days ago, maybe like a week or two ago, you made 26,300% on your money. You let me know where else in the world you can do that. You can't do it anywhere. It's not possible. Oh, and guess what? No AML, no KYC, no sign up. You're minting your own rewards. It's just you and your own software and your own code. Just like Bitcoin miners mine their own Bitcoin, they create them out of thin air. HEX is the same way. You create your own rewards. So it's like, it's so good. I designed, like my design intention became, how do I make the highest appreciating asset that's ever existed in the history of mankind? So Bitcoin did 1.3 million X, 1.6 million X now, from a penny to 16,000. Ethereum did 10,000 X in 2.5 years, from 15 cents to $15,000. HEX is better designed from a game theory and economics perspective than either of those two currencies. And it so far is doing what it was designed to do. It's out appreciating them wildly. Like the chart, if you put HEX on a chart with all the other top cryptocurrencies, HEX does this, and all the other ones have moved so little in comparison. They've moved up like 150% this year. Like Bitcoin's up maybe like 120% this year, and HEX is up 26,000. So you can't even see the other currencies' movement. They're just like flat, dead lines is where we're at now. And there's a big payout coming up on November 19th of about $2 billion worth of X that's getting credited to all the stakers. That only happens one time. It's about 30% of the supply. And after that, it moves to lower inflation than Bitcoin ever had on its path to $20,000. It moves to 3.69% max. And it's delayed because it's only paid out at the end of stakes, and the average stake is 4.5 years. You tell me one other system in the world, anywhere in the world, where people will lock up their money for 15 years. Some guy came along maybe a week or two ago. He put in $8 million, bought a billion HEX, locked it for 15 years. What do you think happens to a currency where people come along, buy a few $1,000,000 of it, and lock it for 15 years? He can't sell. He literally cannot sell. The price goes up.
Exactly.
And from his perspective, he's doing great, because if you look at the interest that he's making, on the first day that he was staked, he made 15 grand that day. And then in HEX, if you multiplied that by 365, he's making like 4 million a year on an 8 million investment. So he's making like 50% a year interest, which is a pretty good reward. And that's just on his rewards as a staker. That doesn't include any of the appreciation. So, you know how I told you like HEX did 263x this year? And you're like, oh, fuck, that's impossible. Because in anywhere else in the world, it is impossible. In cryptocurrency, those numbers aren't that high, right? Bitcoin's at 1.6 million X. Ethereum right now, you know, if you'd bought it in 2005, I think, it was 30 cents. If you bought it on Kraken when it wicked down, 15 cents. Now it's $500. So that's like a 400x or something. That ain't bad, man. That ain't bad. So if you made 20% interest in a year, your 263x actually gets multiplied by another 1.2. So you're at like 300x basically. Where can you do that? You can't do that anywhere else. And it can't be shut down. It can't be stopped. It's immutable, including the markets. So if you want to get out of HEX and into a stable coin that's tied to the dollar, you do that totally on chain with no counterparty risk, no exchange to screw you, no exchange to make you take selfies. It's a completely amazing revolution that has never existed before. That mechanism that I'm telling you about, where you can go on chain, just you and your software, just you and your computer, just you and the code, and get out of crypto volatility and into something stable with no counterparty risk, that has only existed in volume for about 3 or 4 months now. And to tell you how big of a deal that is, this is called decentralized finance. To tell you how big of a deal that is, the biggest, most liquid market for Ethereum in the entire world is on chain now, not in some centralized exchange that destroys your privacy, holds your coins, makes you beg for your own money, gets hacked and loses millions of dollars. This year, KuCoin was hacked. I think Binance was hacked. I know they were hacked for like 40 or 50 million, but I just can't remember within the last 12 months, or maybe it was like 18 months. OKX, founder arrested. Guess what? He's got the keys to the cold wallet. No one has received any withdrawals from OKX, which has like 300,000 Bitcoin, which is like $5 billion worth. No one's gotten a withdrawal in 3 weeks, coming up on 4 weeks now. Cryptocurrency was designed to get rid of middlemen, but people keep giving their coins to middlemen because they're idiots. HEX solves that. You can get interest and gains holding your own keys, your own coins. No one can steal them from you. Well, I mean, I guess if you lost your seed words or your private keys, they could be stolen. But if you control your keys, no one can steal them from you. Like it's you. There's no other, like, you're not giving your keys to some other guy, which happens all the time. I mean, the number of hacks that have happened while HEX has been 100% uptime is just crazy. So yeah, that decentralized finance revolution where we're replacing exchanges with code, it just became amazing now. And the most liquid market, that's $1.5 billion of Ethereum sitting in an order book that you can sell into or buy into, it's on chain now. There's no thicker order book anywhere in the world. So you get the least slippage with no counterparty risk. It's totally amazing. And in Bitcoin, you get none of that. All those features I just told you about, none of them are in Bitcoin. Absolutely none of them. So you got to come into the HEX ecosystem to start to play around with these things.
So I guess we're going to have to pump this video out even earlier as we were planning on. So I got 2 groups of people. Mm-hmm. I got the group of people, they're like, okay, I want to put maybe 5, 10, or 20 grand into HEX, and I want to know what's my money going to turn into in maybe 1, 3, or 5 years. That's about the time horizon the people are looking at.
Yep.
And the second group of people are people who have a lot more money and they're like, look, how can I make 10 or 100 million euros if there's going to be a euro in a few years? Because a lot of people are speculating euro crash, dollar crash, whatever.
Those guys are all going to be wrong. Like everyone that people have this hard-on fantasy that if everything else gets fucked up, they're going to do great. This is why I love watching zombie movies and apocalyptic movies, and I think everyone else loves watching them too. It's because it makes you feel more important. Oh, everything's all fucked up? Okay, well now my decisions really matter. And I think that men, we really want to lead and solve things, and apocalyptic movies like amplifies our role in the world. That's me theory crafting. Some good guesses. People have that feeling in regards to currencies. Oh, if the fucking dollar would just go to zero, everything would be better. No, it fucking wouldn't. It really wouldn't. Like, we have the least war we've ever had. We actually have the least violence we've ever had. We just have the most invasive news and the most clickbait. So it seems like everything's way shittier, but everything's actually way better than it used to be. So I'll give you an example. Cryptocurrency guys. By the way, part of the reason why I'm, quote, controversial is because I tell you the truth. I've got fuck you money. I've been retired for